There we go. There we go. Right, I'm just waiting for the live because otherwise I get a double sound thingy. Uno secondo. I don't know what that is, Italian or something. Maybe I'm here. There we go. Righty ho. Oh, I'm excited about this.
Me too. I had to just put some balance oil to calm myself down.
Oh, bless you. Were you like that?
I was like here, around the back, everywhere.
Got it. Oh, guys, I'm really excited to have Hannah talk for us tonight. And Hannah, I'll be sharing this maybe into the Diamond group as well for the ladies in there, because I think it's really valuable. But Hannah, I don't even know how we met, Hannah. I don't know. It just seems a long time, and it's lovely. Through the powers of Facebook or connections or something, Hannah's introduced me to some amazing people. And we've just been talking a lot. I've bought her magic socks. I need to buy a magic sleeve. Hannah has a multitude of businesses in the health and well-being. And Hannah, I do want you to share about your socks and sleeves briefly, because I think they're incredible. But I said, oh, would you do a talk for us, Hannah? Because there's just, she knows everything and anything really about natural health. And I said, what could we do? And we want to focus on mindset in May and things like that. And she said, let's do, are you an asset or a liability? And I was like, oh, I'm probably a bit of both. And I just wanted you to just share your wisdom and knowledge.
Share what I do.
Yeah, but tell us more about you, Hannah, and your journey, how you got into health, what you do now, why you're so passionate about it, what drives you, because you are a passionate person.
I think if somebody had to kind of give like 3 words, passion is definitely one of them. Purple is another, although I'm a bit faded purple at the moment. And probably colourful is the other one. But yeah, my background is 20 plus years in retail management. Customer service was my thing, and I know that is something that has stood me in good stead for all the businesses I run, because if any of you have got a business that provides a service or a product, you know that you're dealing one-to-one with people, and you need to have some good customer skills and follow up and all that sort of stuff. So for me, coming into networking was a natural progression, really. But I actually ran my own jewelry and accessory business for about 15 years. And it wasn't just a sort of buy it cheap from China for 10p and sell it for 10 quid. It was a fair trade jewelry business. And I was very passionate about making sure that we helped other people in the world and helped people in other countries where possible. And that's why I focused on fair trade when I ran that business called Jago. So as you'll see, my surname is Jago, and I got called Jago at school, so it kind of stuck. And people would say, what's Jago? And I say, it's me. So I kind of became my brand. And people got to know that I had very bold, bright, colourful jewelry. If I ever did an event, it was always very different. It was always very well received. Because I was really passionate about helping people be unique in themselves. And I think that came about from not really knowing who I was through my teens. And some of you will identify with that, where we're sort of forced into a little mold, and, we sometimes don't really know who we are. So helping people find their uniqueness was really, part of what I did in my business. And if I fast forward a little bit, you ask about where my journey started into wellness. It started on the 7th of July 2011, when I woke up in the morning knowing that I had just lost the best partner I'd ever had, my husband, Chris. He wasn't my husband at the time. He was my boyfriend that I just met. Chloe says that was the day my son was born. There we go. And I woke up realizing I had a very serious drinking problem. And the night before is a bit of a blur, but there's lots of it that is just horrible. And I woke up knowing I had to do something different, because what I was doing until that point clearly wasn't working. I don't even need to go into what happened, but it was just ugly. I lost all self-respect for myself, and I was worried that I would potentially lose my children. Oh my God, there's the doorbell. Can you excuse me? I think that might be my daughter. Oh my God.
That's okay. Go and give her a hug.
That's so embarrassing.
That's okay. Look at her run. Love
Oh,
her.
bless her.
Love her. She's so great. So
I'm
funny.
just trying to get in the front door, but of course I put the keys in the door. I'm on a live. Oh my God, that's so funny.
Love it.
This is real life, folks. No script here. So, you know, for me, I knew that I had a problem and I had to get myself to AA. And I'm very lucky that my youngest sister at the time had an ex-boyfriend who was in AA. So she called him and he took me to my first meeting that day. Touch wood. I have never had a drink since then. So it'll be 11 years this year. And going through AA and kind of realizing that I had a problem meant that I had to start looking at other areas of my life. Now, what I'm going to say at this point is I have absolutely zero judgment on what anybody wants to do, whether you want to go out getting trolleyed every night. I have no judgment. Okay, so anything I'm saying, and if you're thinking, oh God, that's me, you know, please don't be offended. It's just my story, and I'm not perfect. I still use hair dye. You'll understand why I've said that in a minute. But it started me thinking about everything I was putting in my body was hurting me. The food I was eating was really not that good. And if I looked at my diet, it was beige. It was smiley faces, it was chips, it was fish fingers, it was lazy mum food. And again, no judgment, but that's what I saw when I looked in my fridge and looked in my cupboards. There were no rainbows at all. There was just no color in my life. I was living in gray, my palette was beige, and I wondered why my life wasn't going anywhere. And it just really made me look at everything I was doing, to the point, like I've written down, you know, what I was watching, what I was reading, what I was thinking, what I was saying, even where I was living, who I was living with, you know, all of these things played a part in all of the changes that I have experienced in the last 11 years. And don't get me wrong, these things didn't just change overnight. They had to take time. And you start with one thing and then you get that under your belt and then you evolve and you try something else. And, you know, going through AA, it gave me access to books, personal development books. And then 2 years later, I found my network marketing business, my first business with Utility Warehouse. And it was then diving into that business that encouraged me to read even more. And I would find myself reading just incredible personal development books. Things like Start With Why by Simon Sinek. If none of you have ever read that or seen his TED Talk, absolutely go and watch it. Start With Why, Simon Sinek. Because that book and that TED Talk really helped me to look at why I do what I do. You know, why did I drink? Why don't I drink? Why was I living in grey? Why did I want that relationship? Why was I living where I was? Why was I doing the job that I was doing? So it really made me look at everything I was doing in my life and not overanalyze it, but just say, is this working for me? You know, are the things I'm doing working? And if they're not, what can I do about it? And I think I'd also, up until that point, experienced quite a lot of trauma, abuse as a child, neglect, bullying at school, you know, all the usual kind of things. I'd also been run over when I was 20, not when I was 20, I was 30. So my daughter was 4 months old. So 20 years ago, I was run over and told I'd never walk again. And I went through divorce 10 years later. And all of these things that I've experienced along the way have definitely made me stronger. But what they've also shown me along the way is how to deal with something, because life's going to happen to all of us, whether that is abuse, bullying, neglect, divorce, accident. And as I'm now experiencing grief, I lost my husband 3 months ago. It is how you now deal with these things that either becomes an asset or a liability to you. And for me, you know, that middle bit of AA is really where I learned that the most, because everything up until that point was definitely a liability to me. drinking and drinking and drinking and going, oh, it's 4 o'clock, can I have a drink yet? That was a liability to me. It was a liability to my children. But when I started to get sober, I was undoing all of that. And I was starting to see really good bits of my life coming to fruition. You know, I met Chris and we had a great relationship. I had a better relationship with my kids. My work started to flow. My networking started to flow. And everything at that point really started to get better and has continued to do so. Even to the point where I am today, you know, where I'm grieving and I'm, you know, I've lost my husband. Life is still good. You know, life, even with those sad bits, is still good. And that might seem like a really weird thing to tell you, but it's because of seeing all these things that happened to me as either, and I can look at them as an asset and go, right, how do I learn from this? Or I can look at them as a liability and go, woe is me, let's have a pity party in the corner. And that doesn't serve anybody. Yes, we can have those moments when we feel sad about things or difficult, or how am I ever going to walk again, you know, but it's how we deal with those things in a positive or a negative attitude. And you'll be aware of what I call the moaning minis on social media. You know, they moan all day about something, whether it is, oh God, I've, you know, this happened at school again, or this happened at work again. And you just think, oh my God, no wonder your life is going this way, because all you do is moan about stuff. And what I learned through this last 11 years, especially, is that the universe is listening to us. And when we say, oh my God, I'm just always having bad luck, the universe hears the word bad luck and it just gives you more of it. Whereas when you turn that around and say, I've had some really bad, difficult trials, but I'm getting better, or I'm feeling stronger, the universe goes, right, you can deal with this. Come on, let's pick up and let's move. And it's just such a powerful way to think, but it takes work. You can't just flip that mindset and go, right, I was feeling negative yesterday and today I'm going to be positive. It doesn't always work like that, but it's possible. And the brain is very, very clever at rewiring itself. You know, if any of you have read The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, you know, that book really teaches you that your thoughts are incredibly powerful. You know, in Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, thoughts become things. And if you think that you are fat, or if you think that you're stupid, then that's what's going to keep being in your life. Whereas if you think, I am being the best version of me, even if you're not quite there yet, that is definitely an asset to you, thinking positively about the outcome that you want. So, you know, fast forward, that sort of AA journey continued, and, you know, Chris and I then, you know, carried on relationship and we got married, and a lot of personal development came in that time. And it's really that personal development that is something that we're not taught at school. You know, we're taught facts and figures and numbers and history dates that mean absolutely nothing to us in our day-to-day life. But it's this mindset shift that makes all the difference. And, you know, when, like I say, when I read Start With Why, it led to other books. And the next book I want to share with you is a book called The Go Giver. And I can assure you this book changed my life. Literally overnight. So it's called The Go Giver, and it's by a guy called Bob Burg, B-U-R-G, and John David Mann, M-A-N-N. Well, pop it on your wish list, Beth. That's the best thing you can do. The thing to do is like make an Amazon wish list, and then when people say to you, what would you like for your birthday, and you go, oh, just give me some money, you know, say no, go to my Amazon wish list, or a Waterstones wish list or something. So The Go Giver really changed my life, because it's a little book about Joe, and he's a go-getter, and he has to learn to become a go-giver. And there are 5 little laws in this book about giving with value, giving of your influence, giving of your relates to the value of your compensation, and giving of yourself authentically means the law of receptivity gives back to you. So those are kind of like the 5 laws. And this is just such a charming little story. It's a business book that's been written as a story, and it's about networking. So if any of you are in network businesses, like I know Chloe and I are, it really helps you to understand how your connections can be an asset or a liability to you. Because there will be some people in your network, like I say, the moaning minis, who just drain your energy, they drain your time, they are a liability on your time. Whereas when you give your time to people who are positive, who are maybe a little above you in the business, that's going to pull you with them. It's going to be an asset to you, spending time with positive people. And some of you may have heard this phrase, the difference between you now and in 5 years' time are the books you read and the people you meet. So cast your mind back for a moment to 5 years ago. I'm thinking about where we moved 5 years ago. We moved into a housing estate, nice one. And there were some people that we connected with who I'm still connected with now. Now, I then moved last year to a hamlet. And whilst it was beautiful, we had the most insanely gorgeous cottage. What I didn't realize is that it isolated us. And in the 3 months since Chris has died, not one of those neighbours that I told the day after he died, not one of those neighbours has knocked on my door to see if I was okay, or dropped me in a card or some flowers. I know you're all like, what? Right? So this is what I mean about living somewhere. That was a liability to me. I thought on the outside it looked like a beautiful asset. I have this beautiful stone cottage. I've got this lovely garden with my chickens, la-di-da, really lovely. It was the most isolating, now I'm out of it, the most isolating place we could have been. And of course, when he died, it was like, I'm on my own in this place. I have nobody with me. And I just moved into a little village in a 2-bed bungalow, which in my head, I was like, I'm downgrading here. But really, first thing I wanted to know is, who are my neighbours? And when I saw Gerald walking up my drive, little old man with his dog, I was like, yay! Because I know I can be of value to him. And we had a little chat over the fence, and he's into art, and I'm a creative artist. He goes to art classes on a Monday morning. So what have I done? I've had a little rummage through my stuff, taking him a beautiful art box that my son doesn't want anymore. And that's definitely been an asset to him and to me. So already moving, finding a different place to live felt like a liability because there were finances attached to that. But what I've been landing up with is a much better asset for my life. So here's what we mean about that mindset. Finding out I had to move, mindset wise, it was like, oh, this is the end of the world. I've got to move. I've got to pack. But then I was like, where am I going? This is an adventure. Who am I going to meet? Who are my neighbors going to be? How can I help my community? So this is what we talk about, that mindset shift. And this is where the go-giver comes in, because when you're thinking about your connections and who you know and who they know and who they're connected to, this is when you can really network and make a difference in your community. One of the things that really happened to me in the last couple of years is I met lots of incredible people that introduced me to amazing new businesses and opportunities. And I think when you're a positive person, that naturally sort of happens because other people want to be involved in you and your life and what you're doing. And this is when I came across Vox Life with our magic socks and our magic sleeve that I'm wearing. People think I'm like really cool and I've got some funky tattoo, and I'm like, no, it's a sleeve that I can take on and off. And I can assure you this little piece of magic has helped me with my mindset massively, because I am going right through the middle of the menopause. Thank you very much for that. And it's the brain fog. For me, it's been this brain fog this last couple of months or last year or so, has been exhausting. And of course, that can affect your mindset. When you're not feeling brilliant, that can really affect your mindset and bring you down. And what this little sleeve does, I'm going to show you the inside of it. It's got like this little silicone pattern here, you can see. And it's got lots of little kind of data points on it that work a bit like reflexology. And what that's doing is it's working on the cognitive bits of my brain through sensory stimulation in my skin. So there's no drugs, no chemicals, no magnets in it. It is purely stimulating the sensory points in my skin to make my brain neurons work properly. And we have some socks that do exactly the same. I'm not going to show you those ones because you can't see it very well. This little red pattern in the bottom of the sock here, I don't know if you can see that very well. This little sort of funky pattern here, that pattern, as soon as it's touching your feet, is doing the same thing. It's making your body's brain neurons work in what we call homeostasis, which is perfect balance. Chloe's saying, you have them, yeah, and it helps with the anxiety and focus. And so what the socks are doing is helping the whole of your body to have pain relief, to help with things like arthritis and high blood pressure, varicose veins, asthma, MS, FND, Parkinson's, plantar fasciitis. I mean, I could go on and on and on all day. Yeah, we all need a bodysuit, Helen, for sure, because we're all suffering with pain in some way. You know, we know that we're surrounded by toxins and, you know, lots of harmful things. And, you know, the AA journey I've been on has helped me to look at everything that I put in my mouth and on my body and everything that I use in my house. So I don't use any chemicals. I only use Norwex cleaning cloths to clean my house. I don't use any chemicals. You just use water because they've got silver in them. So I don't, you know, I mean, this is like my kit. It's a window cloth, a cleaning cloth and a dusting mitt. That's it. I don't need anything else. There are other things, of course, but this is what this journey of going through AA has led me to, is looking at everything I use. And for me, the socks have massively helped because the cleaning stuff's called Norwex, Norwex. That's one of my businesses. That's it. But when I came across these magic socks, I was experiencing a lot of pain because when I got run over 20 years ago, even though I can walk and I'm okay, I have a lot of pain. And I'm somebody that does not take pain medication. I don't even have paracetamol in my house. If I have any pain, I tend to use copaiba or frankincense from doTERRA. So I use doTERRA oils. Some of you will be familiar with those. So everything I use is something that's natural or from a network company, because this is how we all work together. You know, we help each other in all of these businesses. So when I came across these socks, it was just literally instant for me. It was an instant overnight. Oh my gosh, these have changed my life. I don't have pain anymore. And my husband at the time had had some little TIA attacks in his brain, like little mini strokes that your normally sort of 80-year-old grandma gets. But he was 52 at the time and had had a couple of these. And he wasn't really functioning very well as a human being at all, and was a little bit out of kilter for about 3 months. And the day he put these socks on and wore them that night and woke up the next morning, it was like he was a new human being. It was like, bang, he's in the room. He was driving again, trampolining with the kids. He started running that December, ran over 400k in 2020 with no pain, and yet he was supposed to be having a knee operation. So really, really incredible things. So somebody asked, what's the difference? The socks and insoles and patches that we do work on the whole body. So they're working on the circulation, the respiratory system, the muscles, the bones, everything. What the sleeve is doing is purely working on the cognitive bits, where you do your reading, your writing, your focus, your function, communication, creativity. If you have children, like I have grandchildren who are on the spectrum, it helps with things like ADHD, Asperger's, autism, dyslexia. I have witnessed with my own eyes a child put these socks on and stop bouncing around the room and sit next to me and look me in the eye and listen to me within 3 minutes. And then we've got the sleeve on her. I got her to write a sentence down, and it was legible, but there were lots of mistakes. And 20 minutes later, I got her to come and write down the sentence again, and it was completely legible. I didn't need to ask her how to spell stuff. So yes, you can wear them at the same time because they do different things. The socks you wear all day and all night, if you can. The sleeve is a daytime thing, because this is just working on the cognition. You're not doing that at night, you're sleeping. But we find that people that wear the socks at night get better recovery than those that only wear them in the day. And I know some people don't like wearing socks at night, but we do some thin ones that they're like a liner kind of sock. So, you know, really life-changing stuff. And of course, I've then been able to go on and help people who can't talk, can't walk, have a stroke and they can't move, can't see in some situations, people who've got brain tumors, cancers, all sorts of things, to get back a quality of life that they were not being given by the doctors. And now, don't get me wrong, there is a place for Western medicine. But 9 times out of 10, as Chloe will know, doing Juice Plus, we need the right food in our body to start with. And here's the way I can help you work this out. I presume you all have a car, yes? Give me like a thumbs up. You all have a car or some kind of vehicle, right? Let's just say it's a petrol car, right? Some of you might have diesel, some of you might have petrol. Would you put diesel in your petrol car on purpose? No. So the question always is why do we continue, therefore, to put the bad food in our bodies when we wouldn't do it to our car? And it's, again, it's no judgment. It's just a question to help you understand how you and everything you're doing right now is either an asset to yourself now or in the future, or a liability. And it's just a little way for you to flip that mindset of respecting yourself, giving yourself the permission to love yourself and give yourself the best in life. Now, for most people, that then comes with a price tag. And a lot of people say, I can't afford it. And yet, what are you doing all of the time? Going, well, it's 170 a litre now. I've still got to put that in my car. I haven't got a choice, you know. So we prioritize our car and filling it with the right fuel rather than ourselves. So it's what I want you guys to do, you beautiful ladies, not guys, beautiful ladies, to think about the best car that you could have. Put that image in front of you or put it on the wall. And every time you think, oh, I'm just going to have this naughty treat, you know, there's a place for naughty treats, believe me. But when we self-sabotage and keep doing that to ourselves, whether it's drink, drugs, smoking, you know, crap TV, bad relationships, whatever it is, we're then not loving ourselves in the way that we should. And yet we would give our pets the best food and our children the best food, and yet we don't do it for ourselves. So yeah, as I say, the caveat is the hair dye. You know, I'm not perfect. I do still use the chemical of hair dye in my house, and I'm like this close to getting rid of it. But you know, everything I think about now is this an asset or is this a liability? You know, even doing this Zoom, it's like, is this an asset or a liability for me? It's an asset because it fills me with joy to help other people. You know, it's a liability on my time, but it's an asset to give it to somebody else. So I'm going to give you 2 more books and then we'll probably finish, Chloe, or people can ask me questions. I don't know what time we've got, but how does that sound? So yeah. 2 more books I'm going to give you. Right. This one is called Outwitting the Devil. This is written by Napoleon Hill in 1938. Now, Napoleon Hill, some of you will know, wrote Think and Grow Rich, one of the most successful business books ever written. He was commissioned to write it and it took him about 20 years. And after that, he was then being persecuted because of the volatility of what was written in it. He was exposing the very, very wealthy people and what their secrets were. And of course, if you tell the public that, well, they're going to go do the same. But of course, it's come into fruition in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and now into the 2000s. So he wrote this in 1938. It was then, this manuscript was hidden in the Napoleon Hill vaults when he died in 1970. His wife then died, and the family, surviving family then died. And this book was first published in 2011. Now, bearing in mind, he wrote this in 1938. When you read this book and you see what was written within it, you will be gobsmacked, because he is having a conversation with the devil. So it's Napoleon, the devil, Napoleon, the devil. And he asks questions of, you know, what the devil's purpose is. I know is very intriguing, Beth. When I was on a cruise and my husband was reading this, he kept reading me pages and I felt like I'd read the whole book by the time I read the book myself. But he is talking about sex. He's talking about politics. He's talking about education, religion, pharmaceuticals, addiction, alcohol, and drugs in the future, he even says about in here. And the devil's job is to keep you drifting in fear, and in fear of illness and economic insecurity. That is the devil's job. And there's one particular part, and he says, you know, how he says, it seems that you go out of your way to keep people from thinking. Yes, accurate thought is death to me. And he says, when they begin to think in constructive terms of faith, courage, hope, and definiteness of purpose, they immediately become allies of my opposition and are therefore lost to me. So the devil's job is to keep you in that place. And when you step out of that and think differently, ask questions, you're not working the 9 to 5, you're doing something else, the devil's lost you. And he says, I am beginning to understand how you gain control of the minds of children through the help of their parents and religious instructors. But I do not see how the school teachers help you in this damnable work. And the devil says, school teachers, apologies if any of you are a teacher on this call, school teachers, because you don't know this is happening, right? School teachers help me gain control of the minds of children, not so much by what they teach the children as because of what they do not teach them. The entire public school system is so administered that it helps my cause by teaching children almost everything except how to use their own minds and think independently. And he, you know, goes on to say a few other things. So his job is to keep us in that place of fear and drifting along in life. And, you know, for any of you on the call that have stepped out of that and said, right, I want to do something different, the devil does not have you. And, you know, he tries to do that through other people saying, oh, that business isn't going to work. Oh, you know, you couldn't possibly make any money at doing that. Why is my camera going funny? Is it
strobe party going on, Hannah?
I've got a strobe party
getting ready to dance in a bit.
Why? I'm really sorry about that. I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe it's, do I need to put my brightness up? Maybe. Hang on, let me see if I can just put my brightness, because it might be.
Only just started doing.
There we go. There we go. It's because it's getting a bit dark.
I was going to say maybe the devil's trying to.
I know. He's saying, "Oh, don't talk about me." Okay. So, and you know, he talks about sex, and obviously the whole world is going a bit crazy right now about sex and different sexes and what we should and shouldn't be. I mean, biology is biology, right? So I'm going to share with you one more book. I'm just going to let you read what this says. Can you see what that says? What every man thinks about apart from sex. And I'm going to give you a little backstory to this. This is written by a guy called Shed Smove. I heard him talk at a Juice Plus event once, and he came to do a talk for Chris when it was his 50th birthday. This book has been it has won a Guinness Book of World Records for the book that has been translated into the most languages that has blank pages. It has blank pages, there's nothing in it. And I promise you, this book has won a Guinness Book of World Records for being the book that's been translated into the most languages that has blank pages. If any of you would like a copy, let me know and I will send you one completely free. I will just stick it in the post for you. This is the sort of book that needs to go in your downstairs toilet when you have a friend over and they need to go for a wee and they look at this book and you hear a giggle from the toilet, you'll know what they're looking at. It is absolutely brilliant, you know, and the guy that wrote it, Shed, he wrote it, made it. He is a genius. He is a creator. If you look him up on Instagram, he's called Shed Simove, Simove. He's just he looks like Pee Wee Herman. He's just a beautiful man and very quirky, very unusual. So yes, when I take that book to the car boot sale and sell it, people think it's hilarious. So I don't know how that helps you all in some little way, apart from this very bright light. Let's see if I can turn that. No, it doesn't like it. I'll just leave it there. I look like Casper the ghost. I'm really sorry. Has anybody got any questions or any thoughts?
Oh, Hannah, you're so good. I love your energy and your passion. Honestly, guys, like Hannah, she means what she says in that she's a total giver. Like we chatted, I think, after I had COVID and had a bit of a sinus infection. She's like, right, stop the call. Right, have you got any oils? Have you got this? We were making up oils on the call. She's like, right now, do a deep breath. Like she's just such a giver of
knowledge,
total asset in people's lives, and just always giving, I guess, to then receive, and I think it's lovely. I was going to ask if people are feeling in a rut or like.
Shall I turn a light on? Hang on, let me just see if I can turn the light on, if that would make a difference. Hang on. Yes, that's better.
There we go. If people are like, so say myself, there's things that I'm very conscious of that aren't serving me in a mindset pattern. But just not sure where to start.
You're getting in that loop.
In a loop, in a funk, bit of a negative mindset, trying to do affirmations and stuff, but every day the stuff keeps coming. It's just like, oh God, another thing. And it's like, but given what you've been through in 3 months, it's not the big stuff, but it's just heavy. There's a heaviness all the time, weighing
consistent
down
stuff.
Where can you start with this kind of asset liability thing? Because it's obviously a liability. But where do you start to kind of pick it apart and start the right work? What are like 3 things you can do tomorrow? Start creating assets instead of liabilities and get your brain out of a funk to raise the energy, raise the vibration, just be feeling better.
I think the first thing is to make sure you're eating properly. And obviously, in your business, feeding your body is the most important thing. Hydrating your brain and eating the right food. If you're sitting there at your desk and you got, again, no judgment, packet crisps or a little snack bar or something, that is going to bring the carbs into your body and just knock you down, because your body's then going to go, oh, great. Or if you're eating a sandwich at lunchtime, you get that kind of 2 or 3 o'clock slump. And so first thing I would say is, what are you eating that's fueling your energy? Because our energy is directly linked to what we eat. And, even getting up and moving can sometimes changing the state we're in. Because here's the thing, I've got a big picture of Winston Churchill in the corner that was Chris's, that somebody drew for him. Winston Churchill once said, if you're going through hell, keep going. In other words, don't stop and have a look around at the view. Because if you are in a place where you're feeling that funk, don't stay in that funk. Get up and say, right, what can I do? How can I move? Can I put some funky music on and just get my energy up? If any of you have seen Tony Robbins, he always talks about that energy, right? Georgina's like, yeah, right. He's like, come on, guys, get up, let's move, and says the F word far too many times for my liking. So that would be my second tip, is move, get your physical energy changing. And I think the third thing would be, actually ask yourself, am I working smarter or am I working harder? Am I just looking at all these tasks that I've got to do, or can I outsource some of them, or can I delay some of them? If I don't do some of these tasks today, is it going to be the end of the world? Is somebody going to die? If not, just don't worry about it. And I would say within that, I would then prioritize and say, right, out of these 5 things I've got to get done, what have I actually got to get done that if I don't do it today, it is the end of the world, And is there one thing on this list that I could sack off till next week? And no big deal. So I'm not a list writer. I just don't see the point. I know what I'm supposed to be doing in the day, because I also have, I'm going to show you my little tip. I have 4 coloured pens. I normally have 5, but I've lost my red one. I have coloured pens. I'm a creative artist. Clearly, everything in my world is about colour. Some of you might have highlighters. Some of you might have an electronic diary that is, color coded. I find color coding my diary makes all the difference. And I'm going to tell you my pens. So my purple one is anything to do with utility warehouse, because that business is purple. We help show people how to save and make money, and how to make their shopping and them cash back off their bills. Hurrah, right? So any appointments for that go in purple. Anything for Norwex or Vox Life or network meetings goes in blue, because that's business as well. Anything in pink is like getting together with, you know, my woo-woo friend that came today, you know, that went in pink because she was a friend coming over for lunch. It's like happy, lovey stuff, you know, taking your kids for a walk, whatever. The green pen is the most important pen. This is the Hannah pen. If there is not enough green in my diary, I'm not looking after myself. So this means going for a walk, doing some yoga, lunch. Like, how often do we just work through lunch? You know, if we're people that work at home like you and me, Chloe, you know, I just sit at home and I could go, oh, well, I'll just have my lunch at my desk. You know, no, get up and move and take your lunch somewhere else, even if it's just in the conservatory or in the garden. Get yourself away from your desk, because whilst you're eating and putting your work around your eating, you're not being mindful of the food you're eating either. And I remember I did this talk at a network meeting about 3 years ago, and I shared all my books, and I shared the Rude one as well. And the guy, Ben, who was running the course, that network meeting, I then saw him about 4 months later, and he looked completely different. And I'm like, Ben, what happened to you? And he's like, you happened to me. And I'm like, what? And he said, after your talk, he said, I went home and I opened my fridge and everything was beige. And he said, I realized I needed to put rainbows in my fridge. I needed to fuel my body properly. And he said, I stopped bringing my work to my desk. I left my phone away from my desk when I was eating, because I'd be sat there on my phone like this. And he said, I would just be eating and I'd be looking at my phone, scribbling away. And he said, I stopped appreciating the food I put in my body. And so that food was staying stuck in his body, and he couldn't work out why he wasn't losing weight. And when he removed all those distractions and he became mindful of what he was doing, the knock-on effect meant that he said to me, when I then had conversations with my partner and my kids, I left my phone somewhere else. And I made sure that work was when I needed to work, not when it was family time. Now I know we're all guilty of this. The phone is there. You know, the kids are chatting. We're like, oh, hang on a minute, hang on. Let me just, hang on. I'm just, you know, we've all done it. We've all done it, myself included. Like I say, I'm not perfect. So being mindful of what you're doing and being present is really crucial. And there's a book I read. Oh God, see, it's all about books. I read a book called Stop Thinking, Start Living by Richard Carlson. It's bright yellow, you can't miss it. And when I read that book, it kind of helped with that thought process that you're talking about, Chloe, where you're just obsessing about all these things that you've got to do, and you're thinking about them, but you're not living, you're not doing them. And, you know, I could sit thinking about what's happened to me in the last 3 months. And I could think about, could I have done anything different? Could I have made him go to the doctors 3 weeks before when I thought he looked very grey and not very well? I could just obsess about that and go around in circles. But if I just start living, then my life will move forward and I won't get stuck as much. So sometimes what you've got to do is look at, what are the things I'm actually doing in my day? And yes, are they an asset or a liability? But are they productive things, or are they just doing things, or are you faffing things? You know, are you doing things that are productive to your flow? You know, I find now having music on in my little CD player there helps me be a little bit more productive. So having that energy around me. Very often in the evenings, I will put on a nice incense or a candle or a diffuser. You know, having something like that lifts my energy. The oils that I use, Chloe, you know, the peppermint oil, orange oil mixed together, breathe it in. That can change your state of being from tired to awake, and then go, oh, suddenly I'm much more productive. For me, having the sleeve is what has changed that for me, because I know that we're all on a lot of Zoom calls. we're busy mums, we're running around doing 10,000 things, and our brains can just be like this, and we get into bed and we're like, I can't sleep, and then we go in that cycle. But having the sleeve has really helped me to kind of calm that brain and focus on the things I'm supposed to be doing in the day, because those distractions are real. And they are done. The phone rings, doorbell rings. I just had a distraction, They're supposed to knock us off. This is what the devil's doing. He wants us to be distracted and not flow and be in our power. That's what he wants to do. And even our little brains can try to knock us off and go, oh, I'm not worth it. Why would anybody listen to me? Why would I do this? Georgina, you're resonating with that, right? Our brain is a very powerful thing. But when you put all these things together, the start with why, outwitting the devil, the attitude, just thinking about everything you do as an asset or a liability. If I pop round to see a friend, is that an asset or a liability to me? Am I going to be of service? Am I going to help them? Or are they just going to whinge and moan at me for 10 minutes or half an hour, an hour? Is that worth my time? We can be a good friend, but you can then put a value on your own time. So all of these things are really, they're really important. Any more questions or thoughts?
Brilliant. We've got people on Facebook as well watching. So if you want to put a question in the comments, do it quick. Does anybody else have anything else they want to share? Feedback, questions?
I'm also really, happy to do a one-to-one with people. I am a volunteer business mentor. One of the things I'm going to be doing towards the end of the year is something called Inspiring Life Change Coaching. It's a program that I'm putting together that will delve into some of these areas. One of the things I do with people is something called the success equation, where, we look at what your purpose is and kind of actually drilling that down and working out how to put that into a formula. Some of that comes from understanding who you are as a person. I do an exercise called My Name Is, where we actually say, my name is Hannah Jago. We stand up and we say it, and so many people can't even own themselves, so that's something that I'll be doing later on in the year, but I'm very happy to do, one-to-ones with people, even if people just want a few little pointers to kind of look at, I want to do this, but I don't know where to start. I want to try, getting toxins out of my house. I just don't know where to start, as I say, a lot of the time it comes down to finances. That's sometimes what stops people moving forward. And if we can help you save money or earn money or whatever it is, in whatever way it is, that helps you move forward. No, it doesn't. Yes and no. They do right or left sleeves. So if you're left-handed, you'd get a left one. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. Mel said, really enjoyed listening to you. You're so inspirational. On Facebook, Vicky said, I love this idea. I'm definitely going to include this in my thinking from now on. Emma on Facebook, who's a Reiki healer and a fabulous one at that. She says, how do you start your day?
That's actually a brilliant question, because I'm so not a morning person. I'm a night owl. I'll be up till 1 o'clock probably. Do you know what? I do have an alarm now, which on my phone, which generally I put in the hallway, so I have to get out of bed to get it, because I don't have my Wi-Fi on in my room, because the router is in my bedroom, so I turn the Wi-Fi off at night now, so I'm getting much better sleep. If any of you still got your Wi-Fi routers on at night, turn them off. They are going zzz, 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 all around you. I generally have lemon and hot water and ginger and honey first thing, and then I usually make myself some pink porridge. I put beetroot powder in my porridge so it goes pink, flaxseed and some banana or something. And I'm not one of these people that has a sort of morning routine of, right, I need to do yoga and go for a run. I have no inclination to do stuff like that. But I generally, the first thing I do is I say my serenity prayer, because I'm grateful to wake up sober another day. And that prayer is simply, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And that is the serenity prayer. And I, wake up and I, just thank my lucky stars I'm sober again. And I'm here to have another wonderful experience of whatever the day is going to bring me, whether that's meeting new people, changing somebody's life, or just being Hannah. That's how I start my day.
Amazing. Oh, I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, anybody else have anything?
Georgina's got a little question or a thought.
I wanted to say, like, thanks for sharing. Like, totally resonate with everything you've said. Like, I suffered with PTSD following something a long time ago, and I self-sabotaged for years.
Yeah.
And it's a long time to come out of it. And yeah, like you said, like by joining Chloe and the team, and like focusing on my health, well-being and everything has just come out the other side, where anxiety's gone down. And everything you said about focusing on, rather than being victim mentality, how can I change this? So thank you very much for sharing.
You're welcome. It's great to hear that you've found those solutions. And there are solutions in this world that don't involve pills and potions, and sometimes we have to go that route to get us a little bit further along. But when you look at what you're putting in here and in here, I mean, you only have to look at what's on the television, EastEnders, Dead Enders, whatever we call it. All these programs are put out there to bring us down. So it's no wonder the country is in such a mess mentally wise, and mental health is such a huge issue, because they're just playing those stories again and again of trauma, abuse, neglect, divorce, murder, blah, blah, blah. And those are constant little triggers for us. And so I got rid of my TV 5 years ago. I don't have a television in this house. Okay, I do have a laptop that I sometimes watch Netflix or something on, but rarely. I maybe watch something twice a week, if that. And since I didn't have a TV, I've been much more productive because I read a lot more, I connect with people, I try to show up and be of value to other people in their life in some way. And since I've done that, my life's gone like that. So that's why even now during this time, I've connected with more people in this last 3 months than you can even imagine, because of how I show up, because of how I'm dealing with stuff positively rather than the woe is me. And we're all going to experience death at some point in our lives. All of us. None of us are getting out without experiencing it. I hate to tell you, but that's it. We're all going to experience some kind of grief, trauma, accident, injury, whatever it is, divorce, but it's how we deal with it. And I'm so chuffed for you that you found that solution and are part of a positive, supportive network. That's what the beauty of networking is. I mean, who knew that would be the key for a lot of us, and for me, it started with that AA network. And I actually have done a talk a couple of years ago, and I'm aiming to do another one in September called my AA to UW journey, because in AA, I have to go to meetings and help people and be successful. In my UW utility warehouse business, I have to go to meetings and help other people to be successful. They are the same thing. It's just a different product, health and getting my head straight, or helping people save money, So it's interesting how sometimes your life can mirror those things, and go in tandem at the same time. So
Oh, Hannah, I do love you, darling. I think you're just so wonderful. You're so inspiring. You've nearly moved me to tears so many times tonight. You are a gift. You're a gift to the world, and you just pour it out. And you're fabulous, honestly, truly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time tonight, your precious time and stuff.
It's all right. It's my
I know you've inspired the team. I've shared the link that you shared with me to your Vox thing for the sleeves and the socks.
Yeah.
Vox socks.
Yep.
In our Facebook group, will you please post or send to me all your contact details, if you've got a website and all that stuff, where people can reach out, get in touch, even if it's just to say thank you, but to find out more about your socks, find out more about the oil, all the stuff you do, your collagen, all your bits.
My art.
Your art, oh my God, beautiful art. So please send it to me. I'll pop it in the group.
Okay.
And hopefully people will reach out. And
I was going to say, anybody who wants to connect, feel free. I mean, don't just send a friend request, send me a little message as well, because obviously I don't know everybody's name or whatever, and I'll be like, who's this, I always think, when you're going to network with somebody, make it a positive contact, reach out, connect with somebody, send them a voice message, or I think we can so easily just press those like and just connect buttons without, you know, really communicating. So yeah, come say hello is always the thing. So thank you so much all for listening and being here and taking your time as well. I know we can all be busy doing something else, and Jenny's been very productive while I've been watching her filling her little bags with her little samples for Juice Plus. I'm very impressed. Multitasking. Yeah. See, she's been working hard.
She's off on our holiday tomorrow, first thing, but she came on tonight.
I've got every 9 days, so I've got 9.
Brilliant. Oh, you're making for your holiday. I thought you were getting samples ready for your customers or something. Excellent. That's a great.
To make sure we don't forget to take them when we're away.
Absolutely. Where are you off to? Somewhere nice?
We're off to Wales.
Nice, beautiful Wales. That's really where my mother lives. So love having a wonderful time.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you so much. It's been amazing. Your talk's been really
welcome.
Good.
Well, if something I've said helps you change your mindset, and there's more flowers by the looks of it. If something I've said helps you change your mindset and up level your life, then that's the best thing. Your what's the word? Duty then is to share that with other people. You know, the ripples of what we do can be seen for miles and miles and miles. And some of these things are things that I was taught or came across, books and things like that, you know, and it's like being a driving instructor. You, at the beginning, no skills, no confidence, and you need an instructor. And once you're off and running, you then go show other people, you know, so it's the same.
All about paying it forward, isn't it? That film, Pay It Forward. I found that really powerful.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah. Always got to pay it forward. Oh, thank you, Hannah. Amazing.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening, beautiful ladies.
Will do.
See you soon.
Lots of love to you, darling. Thank you so much, Hannah.
Take care.
Love you, babe.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.